Welcome back to Buckets WNBA edition. I am your host, Jim Turvey. If you're watching on YouTube, the amazing guest is spoiled to you, but if you're listening on podcast, we did it again. We got another awesome guest, a returning champion, the returning champion. Dano, I'm skipping over you again. I'm so sorry. You're being treated like chopped liver here the last few episodes, but we got Maria Marino back, the OG of WNBA Buckets. Maria, welcome back. Does it feel weird to not be in the host seat?
I mean, it feels like strangely liberating. I feel like I can do whatever the hell I want, now that I'm on this side of things. But I mean, so excited to be back with the crew. We launched this pod in 2023. So we did that season and we did the 24 season. And the two of you were like my partners in crime on all of that. And so I've been kind of listening from afar, just kind of hanging back, being creepy, not really being too overly involved, but I'm so stoked to be back with you guys.
Some say that this pod prepared you for motherhood. It was your first baby, so.
Yeah, the direct correlation, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I would have been worse off without having this training of dealing with you guys.
Yeah.
It is awesome to have you back. Had to do it for finals preview. I've been like leaning on you a little bit. I want to press you into anything at any point. You're quite busy these days, but I wanted to get you on at some point. You were like, all right, finals it is. Let's do it. You said we gotta get Dano in here. We gotta get the three of us, the three OGs all together. So that's what we have for the finals. We're amped. We have Aces Mercury, as everyone hopefully knows who is listening. We can do a very brief kind of recap of how we got here. Dano, you and I were previewing that game 5. We were basically right to bet the Fever and the cover, and then everything kind of went to shit in the overtime. That was brutal. The either team to win to 1-5. Did you even get the cover on the spread, Dano?
No, of course not. Fouled 5 seconds left. Brutal. And then called a timeout for Natasha Howard to miss a bunny at the rim. No, that was painful. I mean, and I think I was so caught up in the motion. Like I middle a lot of bets like in my lifetime. And I don't know why I was just so captivated by this game and the thought of, even after Kelsey Mitchell went down, which sucked, but like if the Fever pulled this off, like what a magical moment it would be. And because the game was incredible. So yeah, it's yeah, and I mean, I didn't even think Sabrina was like, Fever and the over. The over definitely got there. But yeah, I mean, I did not see overtime coming. I thought some shameful calls that you just don't make at the end of a game. But, that's par for the course with the WNBA. So,
And Maria, I know in the group chat you were hitting us up with watching the game, and then also some of the exit interviews. I mean, this is a finals preview. We don't go too deep in the weeds, but I mean, there is WNBA news galore right now. What are your thoughts on like the last week as a whole?
I don't know if you want to open up this can of worms with me right now. I'll just say. This might be an unpopular opinion, so I guess I have to share.
Oh, but coming on with the takes.
You know how I do. But I think there's a world in which Kathy Engelbert can be bad at relationship building and not texting players to see how they're doing, not relating to players, not being in tune with their feelings, but also being pretty good at the business side of things. And I don't want to defend in any way any of the comments that Napheesa Collier has said that Kathy made to her. But I do still think we have to keep into perspective where this league was at when Kathy came on in 2019. And it was a very different landscape than it is now. And she has done a lot of good things, a lot of positive things to help the finances of this league. And so I just keep hearing a lot about the relationships. And I think that's super important. And I don't think she's going to be commissioner very much longer just because of all of this. But when you're kind of prioritizing what somebody in that role should be good at, wouldn't you maybe put like the business stuff number one? That's just my thought. And I haven't heard anyone else say it because no one wants to defend what some of those comments were, because that shows that you're not in tune as a people person. But let's also remember the strides that have been made to make this league viable. Players are number one. They have taken this league to where it is. First and foremost, they deserve the credit. There was a lot of behind the scenes stuff that needed to be done to keep this league afloat.
Dano, I want to get your thoughts on that too.
I don't mean to rain on any parade, but like, let's be honest. Saying that she got that media deal done, I think I could have gotten a better one. Let's be real. Anyone could have done that. I don't think it's been that special, like of a job. I think she's been like thrown a softball in terms of where this league is going based on truly the players. And I mean, frankly, Caitlin, Angel, Paige, what they've brought to the league. So, I mean, get stuff done, but to me, I think you could find the right people to delegate the business aspects to. You do need a leader who is really in tune with the game of basketball and does care about the relationships. I just feel like I'm not throwing my name in the into the ringer, but I really think I could do a better job. So,
I think that's totally fair. If I may just respond to that, I agree. Like, look, the media deal was huge and it was imperative. And I think you could argue they could have gotten more. But I think what I'm more referring to is sort of the years between 2019 and like 2023, that navigating a pandemic, navigating, a bubble, sure, like all those different things. And I just haven't heard a whole lot about that side of it.
Yeah. I do think that the case for Kathy does. I think you're right I think she came out of the gates pretty strong and did do some stuff right at the beginning. And those were, I mean, the wobble kind of was like a thing that was like before this big wave that kind of hit the W. They really kind of did do well to kind of capture eyeballs, and it did. The league certainly has grown, and I agree with both of you saying that it's the players that are doing this, but I do think that the first part of Kathy's tenure is probably what she would point to even as being, the part that she thinks is the best part of her resume. What I'm curious is, like, we see in sports, coaches barely last, 5 years. Maybe we can make this precedent where commissioners last, I don't know if we really need commissioners that last multiple decades. I don't know if that's a thing we need. Maybe get someone in that's kind of a fresh face every few years. And keeps ideas fresh and keeps them churning. So we'll see. I agree with you. I don't think she's going to be long for that position.
No, yeah. And I just think in total agreement, and just like this era has changed and the league has evolved so rapidly. Like we should probably have somebody new. Yeah. I think, there was a report in Sports Business Journal about, she might not last past the CBA negotiation, which the W, of course, like refuted. But I think the relationships, to go back to that, they do not seem reparable at this point. But the only other thing I'd add about the officiating is, like, again, a lot of the finances were really tied up until literally just this year. And a lot of money is going to be freed up next year. So as far as throwing resources at officiating, like, I think we would all love for it to be fixed in one season, but, and I'm sure there's more that could be done, but like realistically, how are they possibly going to fix the officiating problem this season unless the refs are paid considerably more? When there's more games, they can actually make a living and not have this be a part-time job. So I just think, I wish it could be overnight, but with the infrastructure, the operations, I guess I question, like, how fast could they have realistically made a significant change? So,
well, the players are all naturally in a negotiation are going to be pulling as far forward as possible beyond what might actually be possible, to your point. And then it settles into a land of, we made progress forward, but couldn't quite get to it.
It's frustrating because the operations, the finances have not kept up with how fast the league has skyrocketed because they were stuck in this dark ages media deal, because they didn't have expansion until just this year. So that's my only thing. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to be like a little realistic about it, but look, a better job could certainly be done. And how long have I been rambling about this? I mean, I told you were going to be opening up a can of worms.
I know, we really did. All right, we will go on to the finals. That's what we are here for. Let's talk about.
David might have to cut this out.
No, I think that was good. I think that was. Listen, if you had any sort of online presence in the last week, you were seeing stories about this left, right, and center. And I think it's cool that you have a take that, like you said, I haven't seen out there. So come to Buckets WNBA for those unique takes.
You know what? I'm actually out. See you guys later.
That's my entire take.
I'm not gonna even bother with any bets. Just kidding.
See, similar to Kathy, Jim also told me I should be on my knees thanking him for the opportunity to be on Buckets. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah, I told you to delete those texts. I told you not to delete those texts.
Oh, God.
No, right, but let's set the scene here. So we've got the Aces and the Mercury. We were talking about this before the episode started. They did play 4 times during the regular season. There's probably not a lot to be taken from those games. The Mercury won 1, but that was no Asia Wilson for the Aces. There was a big blowout towards the end of the season. There was a pair of close Aces wins on the road in Phoenix. One of those came before DeWanna Bonner. So there really isn't a ton there. If you guys have thoughts on that, we can touch on that briefly, but we kind of wanted to talk about, positional stuff too. These are 2 really interesting teams, because when I look at this matchup wise, I think Phoenix has a lot of answers for Las Vegas, and I don't see Vegas having the answers back for Phoenix. However, again, the Aces did do the better of the 2 teams head to head in the regular season. So kind of set the scene. Maria, I'll go to you first. How do you see the matchup between these 2 teams? How did you take anything from the regular season? Is that totally a wash? Who do you see guarding who? All that kind of stuff that you would kind of set the scene for a finals matchup. What are you seeing?
I'll be honest. I'm really curious what these matchups are going to look like, because when you look at the regular season series, I almost want to throw that out the window. I just don't feel like it's going to be super relevant. I think there are some takeaways, like the 2 games you talked about that were pretty close, but I really don't think Phoenix was ever at full strength until like late in the season. And, Phoenix didn't beat this team with Asia Wilson on the floor. Like you talked about some of the personnel, DeWanna Bonner not being there. And so I'm really hesitant to get into like props and like specific matchup related things for game 1, which is why I love a series, because I just love to like go game to game, react to the prior game, and see what like situations pop up. But I'm curious. I want to know, because I think you just said, Jim, like you feel like Phoenix has some answers for the Aces. So I'm curious what answers you think they have.
Yeah, I think the big question, which is going to remain the big question, I kind of wrote down like the stats that each player had in the games that they played. And Asia went crazy. She averaged 25 points, almost 16 rebounds and 3 assists per game. So that's the one that I think theoretically they don't have an answer for. Now, we'll say Natasha Mack is like one of the more underrated post defenders in the league. And I'm a little bit surprised that Asia went so crazy. Now, she is a little bit undersized. Rebounding can be a way, you can get at her at times. So maybe it's on the glass, that the Asia looks to punish that matchup. But, I look at, Jewel Lloyd, not Jewel Lloyd, sorry, Jackie Young, like it's Satu or Ka. Those are 2 really good defenders to give her a hard time. Chelsea Gray, or even Jackie Young, you could put Monica Koa-Makani, who I think is one of the best defensive guards in the league. And then that leaves AT to kind of roam, because, maybe she's on Nalissa Smith, and maybe that's a pretty big X factor here, in that, Nalissa does make it a little bit more difficult to roam on the Aces, and AT is so good kind of, spreading the floor, picking off passes here and there. So maybe Nalissa kind of negates that a little bit. But on the flip side, like if I'm looking here, and like who's going on AT? Is it going to be Asia on AT and kind of drop back? That's pretty solid. But then, then you've got the shooters around, and maybe like Kaz getting Jewel Lloyd on a backdoor cut. We saw that time and time again during previous series for both. Kaz, one of the best backdoor cutters. Jules been susceptible that time. So, Dano, what are you seeing in these matchups, either from the games they did play or from these like kind of theoretical positional matchups as you look at the finals here?
I mean, I think we saw it with Kelsey Mitchell going down. It's been a long season, and
Yeah.
I think you look at the box score from Game 5. Jackie Young played 44 minutes. I think Asia Wilson played 41. It's going to be your best against their best, staying out of foul trouble, and I got to see something out of AT that just says, this is my time. I'm taking the finals and exploit whatever matchup she has against her. She was able to get Fee in foul trouble, who really rarely ever does. I mean, if you can limit Asia to 25 a game, I think you're sitting pretty.
Which is crazy to say, but yeah.
I know, yeah. Like, avoid the 30-point bombs, and I really think you're comfortable. Mercury have been probably the best team this playoffs, maybe outside of the Fever, as far as scoring and dominating transition. And I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities. So I try to throw out the entire regular season. Like Aaliyah and I went absolutely nuts in one of these games at one in Phoenix. She had 15, 20 minutes. Like, it was crazy. So, aces are tough to beat when they hit threes, but so are the Mercury. I think the 3-point ball is going to be huge, but I'm looking at it like a clean slate and telling myself that Nate was hiding it all.
Well, I will say one thing that has stood out to me, it's kind of looking through, because like the big thing with Vegas midway through the season is they kind of flipped this switch, right? So the defensive rating in the first half of the season, so like if we use up to and including that really bad Lynx game, the 50-point loss, their defensive rating was 103.3. Then from July, after that game, to the end of the season, July 26th, the end of the season, it was 100.1. Really improved, second in the league. Their defense was suddenly the thing that was propelling them, with the offense that's always kind of there for Vegas. In the playoffs, it's back up to 101.9. I was listening to the Ringer WNBA show talk about this, do their finals preview, and this was noted. And I kind of poked around and was thinking, they got Seattle and Indiana, a Seattle team that ranked 8th in offensive rating throughout the season, a Fever team that was 3rd, but a Fever team that didn't have Clark, that by the end didn't have Kelsey Mitchell for that final quarter, and Aaliyah Boston was in and out of foul trouble. And we know they had all sorts of other, Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Colson, all sorts of Demir Stantes. The entire roster is definitely not the 3rd best offense in the W. So I think that this Aces defense has kind of regressed a bit at times. Now, we know with the Aces, it can be an effort thing. So is it as simple as they somehow were? I just can't fathom how the Aces would not be locked in a Game 5, go win or go home semifinal, but it kind of didn't feel like their defense was fully locked in. And I think that saying just because this is the finals, they're going to relock back in, I don't think that's accurate. So I think Phoenix is going to be able to score on them. I'm with you, Dana. I think the thing is you have to avoid the Asia 30-pointer, because Jules going to hit a couple threes, Jackie's going to hit a couple threes, Chelsea's going to hit a couple shots. It just tacks on to, if your baseline of a 30 from Asia, then you're really getting in a shootout. It's not to say they can't win those games. I just think it does make it a lot more challenging. When I was looking through kind of the season breakdown here, I will say they did a pretty good job keeping AT's assists a little bit lower than kind of her typical. And I wonder if that is, tiniest of sample sizes, 3 games, or if they did, a good job of, getting just enough pressure on the shooters on Phoenix, if they were cutting down on transition, if they were cutting down on backdoor cuts. Dana, do you think there's anything scheme-wise that would make you say, yeah, okay, Alyssa Thomas might struggle to create against this team? Or do you think it's just the small noise variance of 3 games in a regular season?
Yeah, not worried at all. I mean,
I love it.
She's like, to me, she opens up so much for everybody else. But I love how aggressive she's been at getting her own in this playoffs. And that's why I think, it's put up on a silver platter for her to have like this moment.
Yeah, and she does it. I'll go to you, Maria, because I think we're maybe about to say the same thing. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say I'm so freaking hyped for Alyssa Thomas.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so happy she's in this moment. And this is the thing that's been a little bit of a bummer about all this officiating garbage is like, she is of the mindset of like, forget the refs, let's hoop. Like, I'm going to play my way. And, if I need to adjust, I need to adjust. And I think that was lost on the whole, Phoenix, the win in game 3 and then the ensuing series victory. Now, Dano, like you have talked about in our group chat, how Alyssa Thomas is like one of the most disrespected players of all time. Like, she's so underrated, always has been, perennially snubbed. Like, I'm not going to lie, I'm having fun. And I'm going to have some fun betting this series because I want this to be her moment. And I think, like, as Dano pointed out, there are a lot of signs showing that this is her moment. My only concern, I'm curious, I mean, do you think we're going to have some bullshit here where like the refs do a freaking 180 and like start calling ticky-tack shit and like really, potentially changing that what we've seen so far? Because to me, regardless of any of the WNBA's issues, like the game of basketball will reward the aggressor every time.
100%.
But do we feel like, I don't know, I'm just like, I hope this isn't hindered to the point where they take a microscope and get a little nuts with it.
It's a fair worry, especially because I do think, and again, we just constantly sound like the Aces hater podcast here, but I do think of the two teams, the one that is more likely to kind of whine about it in the post game is going to be Becky and Asia. I mean, it's just, we've seen it time and time again. You're right, Maria. AT is kind of just like, listen, I'm going to play and I'm going to adjust to the level that is being called. And I'm going to be as physical as I can play, but I'm not going to be reckless.
Actually, I'll add this. Like, yeah, Asia, now and then she'll turn around, she'll chirp at the refs, she'll say stuff in the post game, but I will give her credit in that. And I've given her credit with you on this podcast, like when they won in 23 and everything else. Like, she also, though, she gets aggressive and drives to the hoop and draws fouls. And that's what Napheesa Collier wasn't doing. And I hate that she got injured. Hate that. But especially in that fourth quarter and the overtime periods, like, she was not being aggressive, and that's why she wasn't getting rewarded with getting to the free throw line. So I think that's something to consider. And that's what I'll give Asia a ton of credit. And actually, I learned about this. Ryan Rucco mentioned this on the last broadcast. I guess, I don't know, he was talking about it with Lobo. Maybe it was some coach brought it up to them. This must be the cheat code. I didn't realize this. I should have, when I learned to shoot, I should have tried to like have my shooting arm like just jut out just a little bit, because it's like more likely that you're going to draw the foul, because like her elbow essentially like just sticks out just a little bit, and then your hand might be straight up, but like we wonder why she draws fouls. I thought that was actually a very interesting sort of technical aspect of her shooting form. I'm like, that's like, why didn't I think of that?
That is good. Dano, do you have any thoughts before we kind of move to the betting side of things for the series?
Make Asia go right.
Yeah, I know. You did it in the chat.
I was Dano.
Go back and look at every time she goes right. I guarantee you the shooting percentage is less than 50, and that's around the rim. It doesn't happen often.
What I said in the group chat.
I know, and I think you're wrong. I mean, if she spins back to her left, sure, hits a fadeaway, that's fine. But like, I literally, I started to clip them, and then I'm like, no, I'm doing way too much to prove Jim wrong. Absolutely not.
All I'm saying is I think her footwork is what you're missing. The footwork and the speed for a person of her size.
That's fine. I mean,
sit on the left is what you're saying. Literally make it impossible.
Yes.
That's fair.
I mean, like, you're going to get beat sometimes, but I mean, the fact that like, if you let her go left downhill, she is scoring 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Do something. I'm a person who loves math and probabilities. Like, your probability of a missed shot goes up way more. So that's my last piece.
It's totally fair. It is, and you are right that it should be more than like it should at least be tried. And I think we could have Tibbetts.
Yeah, Fever succeeded in doing it. It was great. Like for all the thoughts about Bree Turner, for her to add value against the Las Vegas Aces, I like credit to her. I did not think I'd say her name on a podcast.
Well, Natasha Mack's the type of player who can kind of fill up. She's kind of a little bit better Bree Turner. So I hope that they got the Dano scouting report, because I think you are right that even if I think it's a little more challenging than you think it is, I do think it should be done more often for sure. Okay, before we'll dig into some of like the specific betting stuff. We'll do like series bets. We'll do some game one bets as well. But before we do so, don't forget to sign up for Action Pro for real-time pick alerts from experts like Chris Raybon, Brandon Anderson, Stuckey, and the entire Action Network crew. Plus, you can access our pro projections powered by Sean Kerner and the predictive analytics team. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro and get $20 off the annual price with the promo code Buckets20. So don't miss out on the best bets at the best prices. Visit actionnetwork.com/pro and use the promo code Buckets20 to get $20 off a year of Action Pro. All right, what do you guys want to do? Game one or series first? What should we chat first?
Series.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you.
Okay, let's set some of the for one, we are seeing the Aces about -130, Mercury about +110, +115. I even saw it there. If we look at the series as a whole, the books seem to think it's going kind of longer in the series. If you look at some of the like total games, 7 games is the shortest odds, just barely over 6 games. So the books think it's at least going 6 and potentially even 7 as the most likely outcome. Makes sense. 2 really close teams here. We do have series leader markets, and we have them at more books than just one, which is awesome. So we will kind of talk through some of that. I'll let you guys go first here on kind of series bets. Maria, I'm going to have you go first. I know you've got a couple here. Including we have like a mini little head-to-head. It's not really a head-to-head, but it's playing off of the same idea. So do you want to talk about some of your series bets here?
Okay, I guess.
Twist your arm.
Well, look, I'm nervous about it, but this is what I landed on. I like the Aces to win game one and the Mercury to win the series. I found it at +400. So I guess the first thing to talk about is rest, right? I think when you look at the Aces being pushed to a game 5, an overtime game, and the minutes that their stars played, you definitely think, oh, advantage Mercury. In my mind, like, I think that's true, but I think my gut is telling me that that's going to come into play later in the series, and we have a longer series in the finals this year than we have in the past with the 7 games. I think for game 1, okay, the Aces still have 2+ days rest. They're home sleeping in their beds. It wasn't like they had to get on a plane, after that game. And I know they had a stinker in game 1 in the last round, but that also makes me feel like, are they really going to have back-to-back game 1s as home favorites that they blow? I don't know. So that's kind of part of what's making me lean Aces to win game 1. And then also the Mercury side of things. They have lost and covered game 1, the last 2 series. And they've shown that they're kind of that type of team where, okay, maybe they got to figure you out a little bit. And then they kind of storm back and respond. And as the road team, there's not that much pressure to win game 1. Like, you just got to go steal one in Vegas. So I just feel like the Aces here, you talked about it with A'ja Wilson. She is the problem that needs to be solved. And I'm not sure they know what that answer is yet. And I'm not sure. Like, I feel like they're probably going into game 1, obviously, with a plan, but they're not sure what's going to work yet. And so when I look at that specifically, like, how are they going to contain A'ja Wilson? Like, until I sort of see that, I don't know. I think Aces have the advantage in game 1, but going back to the series as a whole, Phoenix again, like if they lose game one, that's really not going to have any bearing on whether or not they win this series, especially in a 7 game. I like the conditioning. I like the physicality. I like the energy. And the Aces have shown that they are not the Aces of old. Like the fact that Indiana hung with them as long as they did, it definitely is questionable. And so I don't really necessarily believe in them to win a championship. I've said those words before on this podcast and been wrong, but
we've also said it before and been right, which I do think, and both of those finals were very, very close. The last 2 years when you and
you don't have to defend it. You don't have to stick up for me. It's fine.
I'm just sticking up for myself, honestly, because I do think that either of those series could have gone either way. And to be honest, this series can go either way. And listen, skip ahead if you don't want to be depressed, but there's a decent chance in this long of a postseason, after this long of a regular season, the first 7 game finals, there's a decent chance we are going to see an injury that swings something and really bums us all out. Like it really sucks to think about, but there is a decent chance of that. So, I mean, we are looking at, what is kind of a coin flip here. And I like, if you are leaning towards the Aces in game one, I like then, the reversing this script in what has been a crazy, crazy postseason and saying, listen, things that up is down, down is up, everything, getting a plus 400 number. I do think is a pretty strong case. I ironically had Mercury game one, Mercury series as a way to kind of juice the Mercury series plus 115, which I also like. Now, if you are on the Mercury already, again, with that number Dano gave out on WNBA Buckets, I don't know if you really need to add a ton, in part because I do think, this series is going to be wrapping up in like 17 days. They've really stretched this sucker out. It is going to be, you'll have time to bet this. You can bet individual games. You might even be able, if Maria's right, you might even be able to bet this after game one and bet the Mercury to win the series.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I am leaning towards, and I will say, I really liked your point about the rest, because part of this for me was I want them to grab the Aces on a little bit shorter rest after that overtime game. You pointed out though that, this is a shorter rest, but they didn't have to travel. They stayed in their spot. Phoenix had to come to them. Now, it's not a long trip at all, but it is, they're not the one doing the traveling. And it's not like this was a day ago. There's multiple days rest in here. So Aces should be good to go at this point. No travel, couple days off. So I think that is
all right. Now you're being too nice. I want to hear you and Dano just shit all over my game one expectations. Please bring it on, baby.
Dano, bring the heat.
American 4. I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I don't know. I think that was a very, very emotional, intense, like high pressure situation. If Asia's going to have 30 points 3 games in a row, then she does it against me. But yeah, I'm not taking the Aces in game one. I think I said it I think I said after game 2 of the first round, I don't think I'm taking another favorite in this playoffs. Of course, things changed when Fee went down. But even then, I think the Lynx covered 5.5. Like, I just, and I'm not going to talk about Indy in game 5, but there is a decent shot that the Mercury will be favored in games 3 and 4. We're looking at a 3.5 point spread right now. So it might be a pick 'em, I would say. But I think they come out and kind of like what, to the opposite of what you were saying, Maria, or similar to what you're saying, Mercury also kind of came out flat in game 1s of their series. And, sure, they had no problem playing behind, but would be real nice to get one immediately. And who knows? We've seen the Aces respond, super well in game 2s when they've lost game 1s before, but I could see this thing, I really could see it ending in 5 in Vegas. And that's why I'll be there in Vegas.
Hell yeah. You're going? You already have the tickets?
I'm going 3, 4, and 5. Yeah.
Oh,
sick.
Yeah. No, but game 1, I cannot take the Aces who just came off that insane win.
I think honestly, Maria, do you want?
I have one little point, Jim, just because as you said that, it made me think. Satu Sabali, correct me if I'm wrong. Both of the game 1s, she struggled and then bounced back in game 2.
You kind of just alley-ooped my game 1 best bet. So let's slide into game 1 in particular, because my best bet is Satu 15 plus points and Merc money line.
You play it every game.
I play it every game, and it has been awesome. But you're 100% right, Maria. They are 5-0 when she gets to 15 points, and they are 0-2 when she has not. So it really has been they go as Satu goes. And it makes sense because Alyssa Thomas, again, we always talk about how her floor is amazing. She's going to score at least like 12 points, but she's probably not going to score more than 18. Copper's been a little bit in and out this postseason and really hasn't done a ton. And I'm wondering if she is saving a bit. We'll talk about that later. But it really has been when Satu is cooking, the Merc are cooking. And I like the Mercury in game 1. And honestly, this is a really boring answer. Yours was like a pretty solid breakdown. Mine is just, I look at this number, I think in like terms of spread, right? Basically 2.5 points means like home favorite is like what you get for home court. I don't think the Aces are 1 point better than the Mercury. I think I would probably make the Mercury 1 point better than the Aces. So that's like a 2-point swing right there. It's not often how I break down basketball and bet basketball, but I do think in this game 1, it's enough of a gap that I'm looking at it saying, I just want to be on the team that I'm a couple points off of the market here. And it's actually kind of unique for a finals game. Last I looked, we had a 3.5, a 3, and a 2.5 out there, which is pretty wild for a WNBA Finals game. So like I'm obviously on the plus 3.5 side of that. Maria, you're on the Aces minus 2.5. It's almost a world.
Well, hold on a second. Not exactly.
Okay.
Minus 2.5.
I'll just set it up by saying that's like there's a world in which both of those are decent bets because the true value is right on 3 and we're just on either margin side of it. But again, what were you gonna say?
Once again, I appreciate the niceties. I think I'm too chicken to bet Aces minus 2.5.
Okay. You wrote it in, but then we're like, I'm good.
No, like I'm happy to like throw a sprinkle on the, Aces to win game 1, but like Merc to win the series. As I see it creeping up to 3.5, I'm not really comfortable with that. I do think if the Aces win, they probably do cover minus 2.5, but it's not something I'm rushing to bet, to be honest. Like I have like this idea in my head of a potential like series script, but I'm also scared.
It's good. I do think these are going to be awesome games. I guess we haven't really said that at any point, but I think these will be close games. We have seen a decent number of blowouts in the postseason, but I don't know. Unless you guys, I'd be curious what you guys think. I feel like these are going to be pretty tightly contested. Dano, what are your thoughts on all that?
Look back at last year's finals. One game was decided by double digits. We had 2 games going to overtime.
True that.
Game 1 and game 5 went to overtime. We should love. I don't know why I didn't bet overtime.
Well, actually, let me correct myself. Game 1 was awesome if you were not rooting for the Liberty. It was actually like legitimately a very good game. Game 5 was a horrific ball game. It was
disgusting.
Gross. So gross.
So I hope we get still a close game, but a better.
Yeah, agreed.
But I don't know. I need to look at I know there's markets for like how many overtime games, and I feel like it'd be that's my one fun bet of it all. But I know we're talking about game 1.
No. You feel free to hop over there if you got it.
No. Let's keep going.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, let's transition out. Unless you have any final thoughts, because that's all I have on game 1. Let's look at a few series props. I've got 4 leaders here. Or no, I have 3 leaders here. I think maybe someone else added one in. So the series leader bets that I like, one's really juicy. So listen, if you're not someone who likes laying juice for, like I said, a very long series, it could be over 2 weeks, you might want to avoid this one. But I do think because this is going to be a long series and the gap is really noticeable, I kind of like Asia rebounds leader minus 250. Again, it's very, very juicy, but we talked about it during the regular season She averaged over 15 rebounds a game in these games. No one else. Alyssa Thomas was second with eight a game. I just think that the Asia is a pretty safe bet here to lead in rebounds, in part because they just don't really have an answer on the glass, Phoenix, and because AT, her rebound numbers are actually a little bit down in this matchup, if anything. I think maybe she's doing a little bit of roaming away from the basket. Like I said, it's pretty juicy, but maybe you can use it to cover a couple long shots. I've got Jackie series assist leader at plus 4,000. I think that one's kind of interesting. AT, those assists were down. AT is a pretty big favorite. I think she's like minus 1,000. Personally, I would have the Asia rebounds more at like minus 1,000 and the Alyssa assists at minus 250. I would kind of flip those really big long shots. So that's where I found value in those two markets. Dano, was it you who tossed in a couple other series leader props here?
Yeah, one, I do like that Jackie Young assist look.
Nice.
So right, the 10 assists, 0 turnovers last game.
Incredible.
Stupid.
Crazy.
Stupid. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Plays with somebody named the point guard, and we're not.
She's out point guarding the point guard.
Yeah. But no, I think she's been the best 3-point shooter in this postseason, probably. But Jackie Young to lead threes at 4.5 to 1. She's taken 5 a game. Sometimes that number goes up, sometimes it goes down. But the only real competition I see is Satu. I mean, Ka just isn't shooting enough from 3, which is completely fine. But I just think I would make that closer to probably like plus 200, in my opinion. I do think Satu should be favored. She's taking 7 a game in the playoffs. Sammy is like the same number as Jackie, which incredible, but I just think she's on to do that over a 7-game series off the bench is going to be just crazy difficult. And then I just hate to come in and correct you right away, Jim, but you said Alyssa's not going to get more than 18, but back-to-back games of 20.
That's fair.
Yeah. And what if these games are just ugly? And AT does go for 25, 27. She's done it before. She's capable of it. If they are pushing a lot, and I think when we've seen in fourth quarters, AT has the ball in her hands a lot. I think I'm going to be betting her points over unless, they really scheme her out like every game. But I think to lead the series in points, 22 to 1. Obviously, I'm not betting a lot on this, but I think because, Asia Wilson exists. But I think with the usage and the gravity of the moment, I think it's a fun flyer. And also for me, I think that's like a hedge on some of the players that I want to bet to win Finals MVP.
Yeah. Do you want to talk Finals MVP real quick, Maria?
I'm down.
All right, let's transition that. Let's head over there.
All right. Well, I mean, it does totally make sense that the price for Asia is the same as like the series.
Yeah.
But I think Jackie Young at 27 to 1. I think I grabbed it at 35 to 1, like before Game 5, just in case. But I think she's been so invaluable to this team, and I mean, we've seen her put up 30-point games, but obviously it's there's a reason that there's 3 Phoenix Mercury in between Asia and Jackie. So, but the other one I like, or other 2 I like, would be Satu and Ka. I think you can find Satu at 11 to 1, 12 to 1, and then Ka all the way up to 20 to 1.
Do you have any thoughts on this market, Maria?
I do. So, I mean, again, just kind of keeping to the Mercury winning theme, I didn't look too hard at the Aces players, which is probably stupid of me, but whatever. Like I said, I'm having some fun here.
Manifest the shit. The shit. I had trouble betting Jackie because I was like, I don't want this shit.
Yeah, you're jinxing yourself. But no, I looked at Collier Copper and I found her at plus 1,800. I'm not gonna lie, like I put a $5 bet in. I don't care. But basically, looking at those two players, Satu and Collier, I think Satu for sure has had some really bright shining moments, but she also hasn't been in a finals before. We've seen Ka Copper win a finals MVP.
Mm-hmm.
We saw her, help deliver a gold medal in Paris last year when she was hardly even cracking the rotation before. She just has that sort of killer instinct. I know maybe the volume hasn't been as high as it has in the past for her, but when she gets hot, they will find her. That they're going to find her the ball. I love how athletic she is. I love as far as getting steals, getting out and running. Being able to cut. You mentioned Alyssa Thomas being able to find her on those cuts. So I just sure, Alyssa Thomas, that would be sort of the obvious choice, and I don't even know what her odds are offhand. But I was kind of looking for a little bit more of a long shot, but that I could see happening and just having a little fun with it.
Well, AT's plus 140. So yeah. Definitely.
Basically series price too.
Yeah. So if I bet $5 on that, it's not really going to do much for me.
Yeah.
You want your $5.70 or whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think the case for is very obvious that I think close games, Ka is going to get those late clutch buckets 100%, and she will be the one. She can steal the moment. I think the case against would be that Alyssa Thomas is loved by so many, and this would be her moment, right?
That's true. That's true.
And
I would be totally fine with that. I would not be upset, if I lost my $5.
And that's why it's again. That's why it's basically the price of the series. I think that.
Sure.
I think that people a lot in the media think that she is the kind of forgotten player of the generation. If she's finally able to cross this threshold that she's been so close to so many times, I would love it.
What if we get a Sammy Whitcomb game winner, series winner, series winning shot? What about that?
Sammy the Finals MVP over Alyssa Thomas. I think there might be rioting if that happened. But
I was looking to see if there's a number.
I doubt it.
And there isn't, but there is one. There's one.
Oh God, what?
Natasha Mack, Monique, and Kirsten Bell are all plus 40,000. So.
Wasn't even that long.
I'm a little offended that they didn't just go ahead and list Sammy then. What the hell?
I don't know, right?
She should be ahead of probably. I guess Natasha Mack if she sits on Asia. I don't know. All right. Do we have any final thoughts? I think we gave out a bunch of bets on the game for the series as a whole. I'm just trying to make sure that all the bets that we had in here we got to. I thought I had the player prop there was Satu 15 plus in Mercury line. Any final thoughts before we wrap up this episode and send people off to watch game one of the finals?
Yeah. What do you think of the totals in this series being at under 160?
Especially given I was just talking about how sus the Aces defense is. I would definitely lean towards the over. Is that what you're thinking as well, Dano?
It is. I just, am a little terrified, but I mean, I feel like the last 2 days waiting for the series to start have been so long, and
I love it.
And with everything going on too, it's
I know.
Let's get some hoop.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I just don't want their look. I know there is a very serious situation going on in the W right now, and CBA negotiations are definitely contentious, and it's literally the most important time in the league's history and all of that. But man, I just want to watch some ball and have fun. And I don't know, maybe that sounds insensitive, but I just hope that people can appreciate the product that we do have in front of us. Yeah, we know the officiating needs a lot of work, but these players all year long have balled out. We have so much parity in the league this year. The playoffs have been incredible. We've had so many good games, very few blowouts here in the playoffs. We've had upsets, the Fever doing what they did. And I feel we shouldn't take the attention away of the players deserve this moment to, enjoy potentially winning a championship here. So I just hope everybody can kind of keep that the main thing.
I think that is a perfect note to go out on. Maria Marino bringing the heat in her first episode back. Some excellent takes. We got you some bets. We got you some takes.
Questionable takes.
We're already clipping and sending those out. Don't worry. Those will be viral by the morning. If you would like to tail any of the bets that we talked about today, look for the quick slip link in the episode description. We will also be posting plays in the Action app. So obviously go download that. If you're listening to this podcast, rate and review. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. My thanks as always to David Payne on the audio, Gifford Gould for the YouTube side, and for Dano, Mataya, and for Maria. You got to do the sign off for old time's sakes. Can you sign us off?
Will I? Oh my goodness. Okay. For Dano, Mataya, and Jim Turvey, I'm Maria Marino. Let's get buckets.